Namaste World Raisers, Sabina and Roger here. Let's watch Advaita Vedanta, Non-Duality Explained by Indian monk.
Yeah, I love me some Advaita Vedanta non-dualities, so let's learn a little bit more about it. And if you like it as much as we do, hit that like button, because I think basically it's going to be saying that we're all one in reality.
Aww.
We all need to love each other, so you can love us by liking it.
Oh my god.
Advait Vedanta is a school of Hindu philosophy that teaches non-duality or the absence of a separation between the subject and object. The philosophy is based on the Upanishads and commentaries by eminent scholars like Gaudapad and Sri Adi Shankaracharya. Dvaita means duality, while Advait means non-duality. In simpler terms, Advait means the absence of separation between the subject and object. We experience duality in our everyday lives, but in deep sleep, only non-duality. Shankaracharya is the most important teacher of the Advait school of Vedanta. His commentaries to the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Brahma Sutra are definitive works on Advait thoughts. However, it should be remembered that all Vedanta philosophy really goes back to the Upanishads, and Shankaracharya is considered a preeminent teacher who continued the Upanishadic tradition. The title of Shankaracharya is given to the heads of numerous Advait institutions in India today. They have earned this respect and fame through their hard work and dedication. In Hinduism, Brahman connotes the highest universal principle, the ultimate reality in the universe. Please do not confuse Lord Brahma or Brahman Varn with Brahman. Here we are talking about Brahman, meaning the infinite consciousness is the only reality, according to Advait school of thought. All else is an appearance, projection, formation, or just an illusion. Snakes are often used to describe the illusionary nature of reality. Just like when you see a snake in a rope when it's lying in the darkness, the snake is an illusion and the rope is the reality. The world appears in the mind over the self. The school believes that the individual self, Ātman, does not have a separate existence. It is only a projection or reflection of Brahman in each being. Jeev is a deluded soul by egoism, desire, and other impurities, which leads to experiencing duality and separation. Because of this, each being is bound to the cycle of births, deaths, and rebirths, and the laws of karma until liberation is achieved. Brahman is the ultimate reality, but the world in which we live is an illusion, like a mirage. It appears in our consciousness because of the activity of the mind and the senses. But since we totally depend upon them, we do not perceive Brahman or consciousness, the ultimate reality which is hidden in all of us. When they are fully withdrawn and made silent through detachment, purity, and renunciation, one can see the Supreme Self hidden in all and attain liberation. There is a lot of confusion surrounding knowledge and what is the right way to find salvation or ascertain the truth. In Advait Vedanta, there are 3 different ways to gain knowledge proposed by Adi Shankaracharya. Paramarth, there is a reality that is metaphysically true and ontologically accurate. This is the state of experiencing that which is absolutely real and into which both other reality levels can be resolved. This is the highest reality. It can't be sublated or assimilated by any other. Vyavhar, which consists of empirical or pragmatic reality. It constantly changes over time, so it is empirically true at a given time and context, but not metaphysically true. It is our world of experience, the phenomenal world with which we are confronted every day when we are awake. It is the level at which living creatures or individual selves and Ishvara are true. Here, the material world is also true, but this is an incomplete reality, pratibhasik. reality based on imagination alone. This is the level of experience in which the mind constructs its own reality. An example of pratibhasik is the imaginary reality, such as the roaring of a lion, fabricated in dreams during one's sleep. Another example is the perception of a rope in the dark as being a snake. Light and darkness are two different realities that are both valid in their own contexts. John Grimm's uses the analogy of light and darkness to explain the Advait doctrine of absolute and relative truth. In this analogy, light is the absolute reality and darkness is the relative reality. There is no absolute answer to this question. It depends on your perspective. From the sun's perspective, it doesn't rise or set. There is only light. But from our perspective on earth, we see the sun rise and set, experience darkness, and know that not all is light. Both perspectives are true in their own way. From the perspective of the sun, it neither rises nor sets. There is no darkness and all is light. From the point of view of a person on earth, the sun rises and sets. There is light and darkness. Not everything is light. There are relative shades of light and dark. Both are realities and valid truths given their perspectives. However, they are contradictory. What is true from one point of view, says Grimm's, is not true from another. For Advait Vedanta, it does not mean that there are two truths and two realities, but that the same reality and the same truth are explained or experienced from two different perspectives. There are different perspectives on what is true. For Advait Vedanta, this does not mean that there are two truths and two realities, but that the same reality and the same truth are experienced from two different perspectives.
Okay, I got totally lost. The music was so loud, and it's so deep, and I couldn't. I was drifting off then.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was pretty deep. There was a lot in there, a lot of, compact information. So if you're new to Advaita Vedanta, non-duality, there's a lot of information in there. So I actually recommend you to, go through the video again, and, pause and contemplate, because it's deep stuff. When we're talking about, non-duality, so whether you adopt that philosophy or not, what the philosophy is teaching is that there's one absolute truth, one absolute source of everything in existence, right? And we're all, products of that one source, right? So in this case, it's Brahman, right? So the absolute infinite field of consciousness, and then all existence, all forms, all sentient beings are part of that, and we're all manifestations of that one source, right? So not to be confused with, and then there's, of course, different levels and layers to the teachings, right? And some say that there is no soul or Ātman, and it doesn't exist inherently from its own side and its own reality. And then so let's not get confused and get into a different delusion of thinking that, so the world from a certain level, the world is an illusion, and it's a delusion, and it's a product of the mind and all that. I'm not saying it's not true, but we have to remember that it still exists conventionally. So if we dive into non-duality and then we start thinking that the world is an illusion and doesn't exist and it's not real, then we could be accumulating, actually negative karma, in the sense of not advancing spiritually to the point of liberation to realize the truth, because we're caught up in, maybe some wrong actions and wrong deeds, because we're thinking that nothing is real and nothing exists, so then we can do whatever we want. So that's, again, a wrong view, and it's missing the point, because obviously we exist on a certain level, right? So that's why, I'm coming from a little bit of a Buddhist background, where, of course, I dived into those teachings quite heavily, and in the Buddhist teachings, there is two truths, right? So the two truths is ultimate reality, exactly what she's talking about in this video. And the second truth is conventional reality, and it is also true, but it's from the level and perception of ego mind that is separated. And so to not exist inherently from our own side doesn't mean that we don't exist. We still exist, but our existence is dependent upon something greater than ourselves, right? So it's not that the Ātman is unreal and that there is no, self in the sense of a stream of consciousness that exists separately, because we do exist separately until we've, attained the highest, which is way down the road on our spiritual journey. So what's most beneficial, even in this view, in this path, is to realize that, the oneness of everything, because we can exist separately and be ego-identified beings being in this world, because we're in this world. So there's no just wishful thinking and thinking we're magically going to get out of it by thinking that, nothing exists and this is all an illusion. No, we got to see the reality that we exist as limited, identified beings, and then we perceive ourselves as separate. But knowing and understanding our oneness, then we can truly love one another. And that is actually the greatest path to liberation, right? So we're having, bhakti, we're practicing the yogas, karma yoga, and then knowledge, bringing in the knowledge and understanding, the sacred texts like the Bhagavad Gita. And then we can actually, practice the teachings. And then we're even bhakti towards, all sentient beings, because we're seeing the divine in everyone. So yeah, it's good to have the intellectual knowledge and information of what non-duality is and how it operates in that philosophy. But then we got to not delude ourselves by thinking we're more advanced than we are, and then be grounded and rooted in, okay, I have the intellectual wisdom and knowledge. Doesn't mean I'm enlightened yet. And then I can, practice that teaching as, okay, if we're all one, then I can really dive into, sayings like namaste, which means the light of consciousness in me recognizes the light of consciousness in you. And then that's, our true reality. The higher self is pure consciousness, spirit, right? And then that's how we get out of the cycle of rebirth.
Sorry, but there was one thing she actually said where we were like, in sleep.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, but then I contemplated briefly on that.
Oh.
And it is true in the sense that, so when you're dreaming in sleep, there is only you, right? You're the dreamer dreaming, and everything within the dream is your projection, right? So
but isn't it like in the waking state as well?
Well, yeah, but we haven't realized that yet. So in the waking state, we're still separated, whereas I can't control you, right? You know what I mean?
Oh, you think okay.
But in the wakened state, we're still identified with ego consciousness. If we were enlightened, then yeah, that would be true.
Yeah, okay, because in the dream, we're also just dreaming. We're not lucid, right? So then we think that everything is out there still, even in the dream. And in the waking state, we also think everything is out there. Mm-hmm. So isn't it the same?
Yeah.
Let us know if it's the same.
I guess, but from the...
Taj, help us out.
Yeah. Taj, that reminds me, it's time for a Patron Shout Out of the day. Thank you so much, Taj, for your support, and help us out with this dilemma, because we do not know what is what. So Sabina's inquiry there's nobody better out there to answer this dilemma than you.
Who is the smart one?
The student of Dr. David R. Hawkins, all about the non-duality. So non-dual that you have 4 names.
Sorry.
4 names, but knowing that you're no name at the same time. And we calibrated your names. Some of your names are higher than others, but you're not the name. You're beyond the name. So help us out with the non-duality conundrum. Let us know what you think and guide us in the comments section. So everybody out there, be prepared for Taj, Dr. Psycho, Paro, Isness. He's going to comment down below.
The sword of wisdom.
And let's get a conversation going. Non-duality.
He actually reminds me of the sword of wisdom, because every time somebody comments, he's like, exactly.
Yeah. Let us know what is up.
Yes, and of course, on your journey that doesn't exist, we wish you all the best, all the blessings in the world, that you reach level 1000 in this very incarnation. Make it happen.
Absolutely. We are sending our prayers and our blessings, and we are with you as you are with us. Patron of the day.
Awesome. Peace.
Peace.